Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the FSSAI's firm stance in what's turned into a massive energy drink misbranding showdown. We're looking at a high-stakes clash, pitting giant beverage companies against a really powerful regulator over the very definition of what they're legally allowed to sell you. Think about it for a second. When you grab an energy drink off the shelf, what are you actually holding? Is it a scientifically formulated energy supplement or, just a cleverly marketed, highly caffeinated soda? That precise question of identity, what's actually in the can versus what's on the label, is exactly what sparked the regulatory firestorm we're analyzing today. Section 1. The energy drink problem. So enter the SSSA. Now, as you probably know, they aren't just some advisory board offering polite suggestions. They're the primary food regulatory authority, actively overseeing and restricting the actions of beverage companies. Their entire mandate is strictly enforcing food standards, and they absolutely have the teeth to mandate actions from even the biggest global players. Ensuring that public food supplies are accurately described isn't just a nice goal for them, it's a strict legal requirement. And this wasn't just a sweeping general warning either. The FSSAI initiated a highly targeted regulatory strike directly impacting major beverage companies. Their specific focus? Product lines actively marketed and sold under the wildly lucrative banner of energy drinks. The regulator essentially audited a hugely profitable segment of the market and found their baseline terminology completely lacking. Section 2. The misbranding charge. The absolute heart of this whole crackdown is the charge of misbranding. Authorities are stating point blank that labeling these specific products as energy drinks is inherently inaccurate under the current regulatory framework. By using that exact terminology, the product implies it offers functional restorative benefits that it frankly isn't legally or nutritionally qualified to claim. It basically misleads the consumer at the point of purchase by promising an outcome tied to a specific, protected marketing category. So the battle lines are clearly drawn here. On one side, you have beverage companies desperately wanting to maintain their highly successful energy drink labels without any interference, because let's face it, that label is a massive driver of revenue and brand identity. On the other side, the FSSAI firmly states that this labeling unequivocally constitutes misbranding and must be addressed. It's basically an immovable regulatory object meeting an unstoppable force of commerce. So how do massive global beverage corporations respond to a regulator threatening to disrupt a multi-million-dollar product category? I mean, entities with vast legal teams and immense lobbying power rarely just roll over, right? You gotta wonder, do they actually manage to get relief from the FSSAI? Well, almost immediately after the FSSAI formally flagged the misbranding issue, the beverage makers pushed back hard. Rather than quietly accepting the ruling and going through a wildly extensive overhaul of millions of labels, they actively appealed to the regulator. They sought relief from the new constraints, hoping for exemptions, maybe a change in the rules, or at the very least a compromise that would let them keep their core branding intact. Section 3. No relief granted. 0! That number right there represents the exact amount of relief granted by the FSSAI to the beverage companies. Absolutely none. No compromises, no sneaky loopholes, no extensions, and no special exemptions. It's a really striking display of a regulatory authority firmly putting its foot down, completely unswayed by corporate appeals. Despite deploying vast legal teams, heavy lobbying, and robust arguments about established industry standards and global consumer habits, the beverage makers completely failed to get any relief. The regulatory door was just firmly shut on their requests to maintain the status quo. The authorities determined that precise terminology and consumer clarity heavily outweighed corporate marketing preferences. The finality of the situation really boils down to this direct quote. Beverage makers failed to get any relief from FSSA on energy drinks misbranding. The regulator looked closely at the actual product compositions, reviewed the strict legal definitions, and simply decided that the rules were not going to bend just for the sake of marketing convenience. Okay, so looking at this final verdict, it leaves us with some major takeaways for the future of the industry. The FSSAI proved its dedication to strict oversight, showing that market dominance absolutely does not guarantee a favorable regulatory outcome. With the misbranding charge remaining actively enforced, this forces a massive pivot. It fundamentally changes how these companies must operate, how they formulate future products, and exactly what terminology they're legally allowed to present to the market going forward. Knowing that regulators and massive companies are actively battling over the very definition of an energy drink, I want to leave you with this. Will you look closer at your beverage labels the next time you need a boost? when the bold words on the front of the can might actually be legally classified as misbranding. It for sure changes how you evaluate the entire beverage aisle. Keep a sharp eye out and never stop questioning what's really inside the can.